Good morning. This is Tampa Home Talk, and we have got a pretty fascinating hour lined up. What blows me away is where we're going to start this week. And every week we look at this, just week over week over week, on the 7-day trend, and these are steady double. Like the number of pendings that we are seeing from the prior 7 days is 2,012. Yeah, 2,012 pending properties over 3 counties, and only 1,022 new listings.
We don't have this is faster than before the COVIDs.
Yeah. And so what we're seeing, it's interesting what we're seeing. There's some different things. For example, I've got a property that I'd have to go back and look at my listing agreement on it, but I know I executed it last year. My client actually had cancer, has passed away, did not have a will, has to go through probate. Nonetheless, we had a listing agreement signed, so we're getting an offer to go to the courts. And the interesting thing here is that, we priced it originally at $200, and that was with updates. And, they didn't end up doing any of the updates. And so we were off the market for a little bit. Now we reactivated the listing, and we're getting that number, if you're catching what I'm saying. So the market is moving at an increasing rate of speed. I mean, at some point, it's got to slow down, right? Like some people will be priced out. If nothing else, I think...
At this rate, everyone in America is going to own something in Tampa.
Well, I think what's going to happen is it's going to price a lot of the Tampanians, if you will, that do not already own property out of the market.
Well, I've been doing like spaghetti monster models because they're using those for everything now. They're using spaghetti models for everything. And I was doing spaghetti models, and since they're largely inaccurate, I predict through the spaghetti models that we're going to run out of houses by the end of the summer.
Yeah. I mean, based on what we're seeing and what we're looking at, that is accurate. And I wish, the Florida Realtors, with those lovely graphs and very detailed information they provide, I wish it was a little more timely, right? But the problem is it's at least 45 days behind when we get it.
It has to be because they have to massage the data. They have to look at the data. They have to... I mean, I love these week-to-week.
But it would be really great if they at least just projected, hey, here's what we think it's going to be, but we're not actually finalized.
I mean, even the weather, you go to the weather Doppler. You go to like weather.com or AccuWeather.com or Wonderground.com. I have to say them all since we're not sponsored by any of them. But you go to any of them, you pull up their Doppler, and you click on the future, and it'll show you the future movement of rain. So you think the real estate organization with numbers this...
substantial.
Yeah,
really.
We could scattergraph this, and it's just you can see the trends are moving in a very positive direction for us.
Yeah, and so what the other reports tell us that we get, and it's just too much detailed information for me to pull on these quick little weekly market updates, is the percentage of buyers that are cash, the zip codes that are trending a little bit more popular, what's going up faster, like different things like that. So those reports are very, very detailed. So as a matter of fact, whenever we go to the, our break, I'm going to see if I can pull data from whatever the last one was. It's June. So, just to kind of go over those numbers, even though we know they're not the most up to date, but, these daily numbers that we pull every Friday, these are like fresh, like hot off the press when we get them. So. And, the other thing, too, like if anyone's delayed putting information in, right? There could be several that are pending that maybe they just didn't do it, or they're taking it to an office staff and the next day they do it. So we're not seeing these, but we did want to be really consistent and pulling the numbers same time, very early Friday morning.
I just can't believe. I mean, new listings are down from the week before, about 100. So we're down 10% in new listings, but we're up. We're 100%. Larger pendings than we are new listings.
Yep.
I mean, that is just insane.
And I projected that. Remember I said that. I said it's going to surpass, and our new listings will go down. So here's what I think, Leo. I think some people may be sitting on the fence. They want to sell. Perhaps they're scared of, the COVID thing that's going on, which we're going to talk about in this hour.
Oh, with the new mask ordinance going into effect today?
The mask ordinance and the number of cases that are on the rise, it's still overall a really low percentage.
It's a
when you look at
confusing
it.
mask ordinance when you think about it. You have to wear a mask in public in situations where you can't be more than 6 feet away from someone.
All right, hold on, because you're jumping the gun. Let me
Sorry.
finish one final thought. So, because you're making me lose my train of thought and I won't remember.
Choo choo.
Dang it! Hold on. It was about the pendings.
It was about the pendings. This is not sustainable.
It's not. Okay, wait, that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Corona. So basically, there's people that I think want to sell, need to sell, are planning to sell, but do not want to sell right now because they don't want to open their house up on the market.
Right.
And have a lot of traffic through. And honestly, what we're seeing is if it's priced correctly, with the photo package that we do, the full video walkthrough, I mean, it's like you're in the home. It's that good. So the only thing you can't experience is like smell, maybe, right? And there's some details that you'll notice, of course, especially somebody like you in the property. But I think,
Did
that's...
you just call me a dog? Sense of smell?
No, I'm talking about the details you're going to notice.
Oh, yeah, the details, not the smells.
No.
I'll bring a wiener dog for
I'm
that.
talking about what you can't see in the virtual experience that we get, right? So like if a seller is concerned, they want to sell, but they're concerned about having people in their home.
Well, I mean, I've seen some of the listings with the 3D photographs, basically.
Yes.
You can zoom in, zoom out. I can get defects and everything from those.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see some, but there's probably some things you won't see, right? Because you can't see under the sink and stuff. But we're seeing more of these things. Like I literally had... remember the property that we did the live remote broadcast from?
3932 Carrera Way?
No, the other one on... I'm trying to sell Moonshell, but that's not it.
I don't.
Maiden
I only will remember my first.
Remember Maiden Sea, the last one that we did?
Yeah, 6443 Maiden Sea.
So that property sold, and
I just gave
basically,
someone's address on the air.
well, that's okay. It's sold. It's public records, right? So the people that bought it, the guy was an elderly gentleman and was really concerned, about being exposed. He knew there was younger people that lived in the home, so we actually did a video, and we walked through the home with him, open up drawers. Open up so you could see under the sink, right? So with that type of video, would somebody like you make an offer on a property?
Well, yeah.
Do you think you'd have enough detailed information?
I'm a little different. I make my offers on properties basically sight unseen.
Okay, let's take that part out of the equation.
The normal person? I think a normal person would be comfortable putting an offer in.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, my strategy of offers, especially in a market like this, where you have so many pendings, double the listings, my strategy is always don't waste anyone's time. You think you like a house, get an offer on it. Once it's accepted, then look at it.
Right.
That's my strategy, because that saves a lot of time from wasting.
Correct. And I will tell you that an experienced listing agent like me, we don't accept blind offers. That's what that is. And you know why? Because I know after you see it and after you inspect it, you're going to want to renegotiate.
Yeah.
Right?
That's my strategy.
My job as a listing agent is to protect the seller and protect their equity and make sure they get the most possible highest price and also the minimum amount of people through their home, which right now is really important.
Yeah, but if I have to go the distance of scheduling an appointment, everything's on lockbox or combo box. I can say, well, I'm going to look at it at such and such a time. Don't look at it. Just here's my offer.
I can access the boxes and tell if you accessed or not.
I don't think I don't think the average realtor is that savvy.
Probably not. You're right. But I am. So.
Well, I'm not buying houses from you.
You're not. We have worked together, but indirectly, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, as a listing side, you have to be cautious about the blind offers. Now, there's some people that will work for. Right? They will want the offer from the person. They don't care if they haven't seen it. They just want the limited exposure of people in their home.
I just want to limit the time wasting, because I know back in the house hunting days, I might look at 8 or 9 houses. I might put offers in on 5, and I might get 4 rejections. So now I've looked at 7 or 8 houses that I could have just never knew existed. So yeah, I just try and save my time.
As a buyer's agent, we want that. Right? Like I want to be your buyer's agent for something like that.
Yeah, as a buyer's agent, you just want me to do my own MLS research to say put contracts in on these 5 properties, and that's the extent of our operation.
Well, and the value that I'm going to bring in that particular situation is my relationship with the agent on the other side, right? The ability to get stuff done and a really tight contract that's bulletproof. That's what you want, right? So, but on the seller side, little different dynamics, right? Like everybody wants their equity protected. So if you've got a question or you're thinking about selling and you're concerned with some of the things we're going to talk about regarding Corona, reach us at our off-air number.
813-377-2775. That's 813-377-2775. You like how I have to, after 4 years, still look at this number?
Yeah, and you can call or text that number, which again is
813-377-2775. I always mix up the 3 and the 2 if I don't.
2775. 813-377-2775.
What does 2775 have to mean?
It's easier than 2775. Anyway, this is Tampa Home Talk. You got myself and Leo today.
And we have Sarah by phone?
Adam's joining by phone and Sarah as well. Stick around.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. This is Leo Kane with Barrel Engineering and Inspection, reminding you that whenever you're in doubt, 813-377-2775. You can call or text that number. Not only will we find you a house, we'll give you psychological counseling. We will walk your dog.
Sell your home COVID-free.
Sell your home COVID-free.
We actually have these portable hand washing stations that we can set up outside.
Nice.
And on most of our listings right now, especially if they're occupied, we have gloves, masks, booties, that kind of stuff. We have them wear them. And then, oh my gosh, that's disinfectant. You've seen it, right? In the little bottle. That stuff would kill anything. It's so strong.
I love this stuff. I love disinfectant. I've been using disinfectant and hand sanitizer for years, and I'm COVID-free.
Some medical grade stuff. Anyway, Adam.
I like the medical grade soap. The pumice, it's like that industrial soap.
Yes.
It's got like the exfoliant in
Yes.
it. Yeah, that's a good stuff right there.
So Adam's not with us today because his wife
might have been exposed earlier this week.
may have been exposed. So as a precaution to everybody, thank you, Adam. He is joining us by phone a little later.
I won't even accept his emails for the next 2 weeks.
I don't think it can spread through the computer.
Hey, wait. Corona's a virus, right?
It is.
You hear about computer viruses all the time, right?
Oh, you're funny. You're funny.
Hey, I'm just saying.
A new strand of corona.
You heard it here first. You could get coronavirus through your computer.
I've already told you that people like you better for your knowledge, not your jokes, Leo. Come on, give it a rest.
Okay. I'll go back to being all serious.
All right, so a lot of these 4th of July events have been canceled.
Oh, yeah. You can't cancel America.
No. And Boom of the Bay, right? It's 4th of July. Tampa announced that they are canceling. We actually have a really cool 4th of July show that will be airing in a couple of weeks. And
No, that's right. You pre-recorded all that stuff.
we did. We had to. It'll be out. I am doing the numbers live, though. So I'll be calling in, doing the numbers. But keep an eye out because, like Starkey Ranch, they only have 300 tickets that they're selling.
Oh, so it's like wrestling. When they only have 30 people in the audience now, you're going to have...
It's limited.
Limited?
I mean, yeah, 300 tickets is what they're selling. When it's out, it's out. They're still doing it.
Are they going to do anything social media-y?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably should have asked for that, but I didn't. I do know, in talking to Corey, which we'll hear in the 9 o'clock hour on July 3rd, it's illegal to actually do fireworks. Even though they sell them, the state of Florida says it's illegal unless you're scaring wildlife from a farm or fishery.
Well, I make fun of that every year when we talk about fireworks.
Yeah.
It's like you sign a form saying it's to scare birds off, which in my house is kind of traumatic because I have to remember to give apple cider vinegar to my chickens the week of 4th of July so they don't have heart attacks, which is a thing.
What does that do? I don't have
cider,
chickens. I don't know this.
So apple cider vinegar to chickens is like alcohol to us.
Really?
Which the weird part is, if you leave like wine too long,
Do they like it?
it turns
Do they
into
drink
vinegar.
it?
Yeah, they love it. So I'll put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a 3-gallon water feed thing for them, and they're like pigs in. I can't say the word on the air. They're just so happy.
Walking in circles, falling over.
No. They're just lighter on their feather, and they're happy.
How many chickens do you have?
8.
Wow.
Well, the number goes up and down because
Right.
of they're chickens. They
Right.
have a very short lifespan.
Are these the Ybor wild chickens you made pets?
No.
Okay.
And
Just
if,
chicken.
and if I said yes, I'd be fined instantly. No,
Oh,
these are
okay.
The Ybor wild chickens are actually protected. They're a protected species.
Are they really?
Yeah. Thank you, Pam Ioria. And
I gotta tell you, listen, I was born and raised here, and we didn't have wild, loose chickens running around in Ybor when I was young.
Yeah, because they were in pots. My favorite is the
Maybe.
chickens that, and this is a shout out to Al's Barbecue, some of the best barbecue in town, but the wild chickens like to hang out under his smoker. which is so funny because he can't put them in the smoker, but he has great smoked chicken. He never seems to run out of chicken.
That's a coincidence.
No, but they're all over there. It's funny. You think the one place they would be scared of is the barbecue store. But no, that's how protected they are. They feel comfortable hanging out underneath and around Al's Barbecue.
Wow. So, unfortunately, Florida's seen increases of the coronavirus. And
yeah, it's a weird figure because DeSantis is big on we only have this big increase because we have more testing.
Yes.
Because we've done, 6 times the amount of testing than he was back in...
I think that's exactly what it is. Like, they have more tests, so more people are actually being counted.
More people are being counted, but more people are interacting. See, the downside to all this, what is it? Stay at home, what's the term? Sheltering in place, or whatever they're calling it. The downside to that is... over time, your body develops antibodies to a whole bunch of different contagions.
Germs.
Yeah. You develop that by interacting with people. And I'm not just talking about COVID. There's whole
any type of bacteria, viral.
You develop all these antibodies. So when you isolate yourself, you end up lowering your immune system to everything. So when you re-interact, you're more susceptible to stuff in general. So I think it's a combination, honestly. I do think we have an increase in the COVIDs that we wouldn't have seen if we were still sheltering. But at the same time, I also think we have an increase in people being sick just because their immune systems are, I don't want to say compromised, but depressed.
Yeah. I mean, do you think we opened too soon or no?
My opinion is we should have never closed. So the opening too soon
I think so too. I mean, here's what it did do. For the world as we know it, is it made them more aware of how germs spread, right? Because people, I think in general, were not washing their hands like they should, taking all those extra precautions. For me, it's all the time. Like, I don't, even showing properties before any of this happened, I keep hand sanitizer in my car.
Well,
From touching knobs and stuff, I would always, between every property, put it on.
Well, that was one of the confusing things about the mask ordinance that went into effect. I mean, I read the articles last night. There she's saying...
you can't leave your house, right, without it.
Well, you
pretty much.
Well, if you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be less than 6 feet away, so if places aren't distancing, then you have to wear it, which creates a whole bunch of gray areas. But they're basically saying if we had this mask ordinance in place back when we reopened, people wouldn't have gotten sick. So it further emphasizes the point of why did we shut everything down to begin with if the answer was just wearing a mask?
Yeah, valid point.
I think masks are here to stay forever.
Like, you think people are going to permanently just be walking around with masks on their face?
There are certain people that go out in public, they're going to wear that mask forever.
Oh, I totally agree with you. I mean,
there's some people that should.
I mean, take a look at the Asian countries. We call them SARS masks. We don't call them that anymore, but I mean, people were still wearing them. I remember visiting Los Angeles, and this is 4 years ago, and people were wearing the masks. San Francisco last year, people were wearing the masks. Westworld, the HBO Max, Go, Now, whatever they're calling this network, the HBO series Westworld, which is supposed to take place 30 years in the future, which actually was filmed before COVID, they had extras in the background wearing masks. I think, and that was filmed in quote-unquote Canada, supposedly. So, yeah, I agree with you, Pat. I think masks are here to stay.
Do you think there'll just be some people that naturally want to wear them no matter what?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and they're becoming fashion statements. I mean, you had the Publix employee who got fired for putting BLM on his mask because they're actually bringing out. Actually, he wasn't fired. He was sent home, and I don't know the outcome of whether or not he quit or he was fired.
For some people, it's a sense of security.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, here's the thing with that, Leo. It should be just like it is at schools, right? I mean, some people say it's gone too extreme, but like you're not allowed to wear anything at school, like your children are not allowed to wear anything at school that depicts violence, drugs, gangs, weapons, nothing like that. And so, or anything controversial, really, I think is how their rules are written. And that is certainly a controversial topic right now.
Yeah, and I mean businesses with the BLM, which is the Black Lives Matters movement, companies have taken different stances. I mean, you had Publix, which said you can't wear anything that's not company branding, and I understand.
That's a good policy.
I understand the logic, but when you have something that hotbed that's caused riots, that's caused controversy, that is trying to bring attention to decades, if not hundreds of years of oppression, maybe you shouldn't be as strict. And I like Starbucks' approach. Starbucks is custom ordered shirts. So they have their Starbucks branded shirts with the BLM on it. And they're saying that before these shirts get there, you can wear a button, and they have certain size requirements of the button. You're not going to stop this movement. I definitely think
it should be company controlled.
But it can't be company prohibited, because it's such a hot topic that if you try to prohibit it in any way, you will just be seen really poorly by the public,
right,
regardless of
But that's the
why.
challenge is companies have to regulate that because that's their brand, and you can offend people one way or the other,
No,
right?
I agree.
Which is not fair to anyone.
I would think that for our company, which is diverse, that I only want our employees out there in our green shirts and pants. Uniform. But I allow them to wear hats, and I don't regulate what hats they had. And so if one of my employees had a BLM button or it on his hat, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I just prefer if we just don't do that. I mean, because it was never an issue for us before, and we have got a very diverse culture.
I know, but
team.
by excluding it now, you're making it an issue. And that's the danger businesses run into.
Yeah. I can see your point.
Where even if they don't mean to exclude it, and they're actually supporting of the movement, they're just trying to represent branding, that's going to be spun in a negative light.
Yeah. I mean, I know we see it. You know, the bottom line is we love our people. We've never discriminated on anyone. But this is Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back.
I want to be on a private boat. What are you talking about? Tell me more about this scalloping thing.
This is how you're opening. Welcome back.
Oh, well, welcome back. Yeah, tell me
Tampa
more.
Home Talk.
Tell me more about this scalloping. So I get on a private boat in the middle of July, which sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not near anybody. And I go to Scallop Bay, and I just kind of collect my fill of the tasty morsels of meat.
They can't tell you that you cannot go on your boat. They can restrict boats being tied off together in some distance in the water, but they cannot tell you can't go
So I
on your boat.
literally come up with these delicious scallop's my favorite food.
Oh, you're in luck.
So I didn't know if you knew that about me, and I don't know if any of our listeners know that about me, but scallop is my favorite food.
How do you prefer to eat them?
Light butter, light sear, kind of raw in the middle.
So that's exactly what Sarah had for her birthday this week.
That's awesome. Oh, Sarah's on the air. Hi, Sarah.
Good morning.
So do you have a love of scallops like I do?
I do. There's a little market right down the street from my house called the Fish Guy, and he sells the best scallops on the planet. And that's exactly how we cook them, in a cast iron seared on the grill.
Oh, that is perfect. I mean, so many people ruin a great scallop by wrapping it in bacon. The bacon flavor starts to overtake the scallop flavor. Scallop's just got that nice sweet sea flavor. It's a great texture food. It's the perfect food.
You know, I got to tell you, everything is better in bacon, though.
I would disagree with scallops. I think that's one area where people wrap them in bacon, and I think it takes away from the scallop.
Do you eat your steaks raw, too?
I do. A medium rare is pretty tasty. I love bacon. Don't get me wrong. I do love bacon. I just think with a scallop, it's overpowering.
Got it. Okay.
How about you, Sarah?
I agree. I'm a medium rare girl, too.
See? Maybe we should go out, grab the families, go out to dinner sometime for scallops. My wife's a big fan of scallops as well. I love the scalloping idea. So middle of July, I just need to find someone with a boat.
I tell you, you probably don't know this about me, but I was a vegetarian from the time I was probably 12 years old until I had my daughter, 25, a little after that.
I don't know you anymore.
I know. Can you believe it?
What made you go back to meat?
Your taste buds and everything change when you get pregnant.
Oh, what made you go back? Oh, when you got pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Your smells and all that.
I'm really glad you went back to meat. It's very important. I mean, we're not...
So when I would eat my steak, it was like a piece of beef jerky. And I pulled off of it a little bit, but I still could not eat it medium rare.
Oh, that's the talk of well-done steak is making me... So how's the mortgage industry treating us, Sarah?
We're doing good. It's awesome right now. Rates are super low. I think today we were going to kind of talk a little bit about second homes and how that works.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
they're still doing
because-
second homes right now?
Yeah, well, we've gotten a lot of people, remember, that are moving from other states.
Yeah, that's right.
So I said this would be an excellent topic for today's show.
Okay.
We deal with a lot of people that are snowbirds that want to buy second homes, vacation homes here, and we also have our fair share of buyers that are actually being transferred here with their job. Working on several of those right now. But that's to owner-occupy. So second homes work a little differently than a primary residence. And we just kind of touch on the highlights of how those programs work.
Can I use FHA for a second home, or is that off the table right now?
No,
You can't use
you
any
can never.
type of government loan for,
Never.
for a second home, and that includes FHA, VA, and USDA. Those government loans are intended for owner-occupied primary residences only. So when you're dealing with a second home loan, or mortgage, rather, you're going to be in a conventional product, like a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac-backed program.
Which leads to an excellent point because, basically some of the things that we're seeing, like we saw somebody relocating from New York, buying their first home, $400,000 price range.
Well, that's out of FHA anyway.
And, well, FHA has the loan limits,
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
which are?
So for a second home, Fannie and Freddie have some specific guidelines that we have to adhere to in order to qualify it as a second home. For example, you can't purchase a second home right down the street from your primary residence because it wouldn't be logical that you would travel there to vacation or to use it as a second home.
So does it follow the IRS 55-mile rule, or?
They like it to be 100 miles away.
Okay.
There are exceptions to that. For example, if you live in Tampa, for example, and you're buying a property on the water in Weeki Wachee, that would logically make sense. But we just have to make sure that it's logical for your application and your scenario. Some folks buy their second home right in the middle of an everyday average neighborhood, and that's acceptable too because they're wanting to own a second home, maybe near family members, and that's why they are going to that area to vacation.
Sarah, what's the loan limits for FHA?
Well, you're in our area, the maximum base loan amount is $331,000. You can spend a little more than that because you're putting 3.5% down. You just can't exceed that loan amount. For a second home property, it's the normal conventional conforming limit. Second homes are going to be subject to a little bit of a higher down payment, 10% down on a second home. It can only be a one-unit dwelling. So you couldn't buy a duplex and call it a second home. Some people don't know that there are a couple particular rules on that. Just because it's your second home doesn't mean that it has to remain vacant for you to occupy all year long. It just has to be, you just have to be able to occupy it at least some portion of the year. It can't be under the control, for example, of a management company because that would be more indicative to an investment property. So a lot of folks will buy a second home and they will earn some income off it, that maybe they'll Airbnb it or they'll accept a tenant on a short-term lease. You wouldn't want to put a tenant in there on an annual lease because, again, you as the owner of the second home have to have the ability to occupy it for at least some portion of the year. So we do see a lot of that. Someone will buy a second home, Airbnb it out, and then use it when they want to use it, just on short-term rental agreements, different times of the year.
Sarah, I have a question.
Sure.
Why are you working on your birthday?
My birthday was a couple days ago.
Oh, well, I missed it.
It's today on Tampa Home Talk.
There you
Birth
go.
month.
Happy birthday to you.
Aw.
Happy birthday to dear
Sarah.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, she had a good day. She went out and
Thanks for
had
that.
a day at the beach, some seafood.
Played a little hooky. Definitely
Yes.
paid for it the next day. It was wonderful weather, low humidity. It was a pretty great day.
Yeah, so Quick question, just to loop back around on what you're talking about. We are seeing some primary residents. There's quite a few rules people have to follow, right? If they're taking their, for example, New York income and bringing it to Florida. So some of them, it just may be easier to qualify as a second home, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are other reasons to go second home. For example, I plan to relocate to Florida. I plan to secure new employment in Florida, but I don't quite have my home sold yet where I live, or my lease isn't up, and I haven't really locked down the exact job I'm going to accept. So you can purchase as a second home, and then
If you're
occupy it
currently
later.
living and working out of state, you got to qualify, right? And have that job, not give notice.
Correct. And some folks can. I mean, a lot of folks work remote, and they can occupy and live anywhere they want. And their companies are based, their corporate headquarters are based in different states across the country. So it's really going to depend on the specific scenario for that individual.
Yeah. So are you seeing the number of second home apps rise at all?
Yeah, we do, I mean, quite a bit. Not as many as, obviously, owner-occupied properties, but I'm probably working on 5 or 6 right now.
And are they people that are, living out of the area, but maybe relocating here?
Yep, we have a mixed bag on that. Some are buying second home just until they get their ducks in a row and can actually physically relocate here permanently. And others are just truly buying second home vacation homes.
Yeah. We're going to see more and more of it. People want to be able to get away if there's a lockdown again and have another place that's not as restrictive, which, it's probably...
We see a lot of the second homes popping up October, November, when the season starts to change. Yeah.
But I think a lot of this, it's probably a good idea that some of the mayors are doing what they're doing with regards to COVID. So it's a good time for us to transition into the rest of some of these new regulations. Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You all have a great day.
Got it. So Florida is seeing 3,207 new coronavirus cases here, bringing the total infections for the state to 85,926. And so Hillsborough and Pinellas County also had single high record days.
Hence the mask ordinance.
Right. So the state has tested about 1.5 million people, with about 5.7% coming back positive.
So the positives are a little up.
But that's just of the people it's tested, right?
Yeah.
And it is not considering overall population. So even though there's a spike, Governor Ron DeSantis says he is not going to be shutting down the state again, which I think is really a good idea.
Like I said, I firmly believe we shouldn't have shut down to begin with. And if the mask ordinance is what keeps our state open and our economy thriving, then by all means, mask ordinance away.
So the interesting thing with the schools, and I got this message yesterday, because I have kids in Pasco County schools. And so one of the things they're saying is they are going to reopen in Pasco, but they're going to give 3 options.
I like this. I mean, you get the regular classes. You've got virtual classes, which is work at your own pace.
I don't know if those went over that well.
I don't think that's going to go over well. And you have live classroom via online. And what that's going to do for the regular classrooms with these other 2 options, I think it's going to have wonders. I think you're going to have impoverished areas where you have overpopulation of the schools. The parents can now have their children schooled at home. So that's going to bring down the teacher ratio, which is the amount of students to teacher. And when you bring down that teacher ratio, you get that more one-on-one time, and you give these overpopulated, impoverished school systems, you can get them a better education.
You know what this reminds me of at Epcot? They have that ride. Pat, what's the name of it? It's where the garden is and everything, and they...
Horizon?
No.
Land of the Lost?
Oh,
It's by Land of the Lost.
Land of the Future?
Yes.
Yeah,
and they have the one where you go through and you see how
Right.
things change.
Oh, that
The
doesn't...
Carousel of Progress.
Carousel of Progress. There you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
That's
of.
in the Magic Kingdom.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I got my parks mixed up.
And it's
Anyway,
been there forever.
I know. And, that's one of my one of my kids' favorite exhibit/rides. They love it. But talking about this, the classroom via the online setting, if you remember this, there's a little part in that Carousel of Progress where the teacher is teaching virtually through a computer.
Yeah, I remember. That was also in Horizons before they shut that one down in Epcot
And that was in the future,
in the past.
and now we're here. Interesting, isn't it?
813-377-2775. That's 2775.
All right, stick around when we come back after the break. We got a couple more points we're going to give you on some things affecting you if you're like in the St. Pete area, city of Tampa, all around. So stick around. We got quite a bit more to cover. This is Tampa Home Talk. Off-air number 813-377-2775. We'll be back in just a moment.
And welcome back. This is Leo Kane with Barrel Engineering and Inspection, talking about all the nice stuffs. We're talking about mortgages. We're talking about schools. We're talking about...
Well, St. Pete's got some news going on.
What's St. Pete got going on?
Rick Kreisman, he directed businesses to have their employees wear masks, even indoors, in an effort to try to help spreading the virus.
Isn't that the mask ordinance? Oh, wait, does that mean my employees need to wear masks after today at work?
If they're inside, yeah, and they're in St. Pete, I would
Well, they're not
say
St. Pete. They're in Tampa.
No, the city of Tampa has.
Tampa has it too. Yep, that's next. So 5 p.m. today, city of Tampa enforcing wearing the face mask indoors. Not wearing the mask inside could result in a civil citation.
Okay, so I got to tell all my employees when they show up to work on Monday to have masks.
Yeah, it's not you.
I know the
Mayor's
inspectors.
decision.
Inspectors already do that. I'm just the designers. That's going to be weird.
I know. It's not fun. Like, we're going to have to make this thing a fashion statement.
They already have. They're selling designer masks. On the plus side, skin cancer will probably be on the decline.
Like, where? Just in your face?
In general, you can't go outside, and when you go outside, you have to be all covered up.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to want a little mask tan on their face.
That's true too.
What do you call it? It's like a farmer's tan, right? Is what it's called if you have a...
Yeah. It's like this. See?
I'm glad the farmers don't get offended by that.
I'm sorry, Facebook and YouTube watchers. I mean, you're blind right now. You're blind. I'd roll my pant leg up, but that would just kill you all from like staring at the sun.
So, what about this? You want to cover that one?
You want me to cover the football topic?
Yeah.
The thing I know absolutely nothing about football.
That's what makes it so funny.
I'll just read this. Dr. Anthony Fauci just poured cold water on football fans' hope of seeing some action in the gridiron this year. What did he say?
I didn't see it. Maybe Pat did.
The NFL's
Is he saying not to have football?
Well, they're talking about making some reform for sure. I don't know. I haven't followed it closely
Yes,
enough.
he's saying
I
he just poured cold water on football fans' hopes of seeing. I want to know more, and I'm the person that's supposed to be telling you more because I'm the media.
I wonder what's going to happen with regards to fantasy football.
Or what about arena football?
Yeah, that should be.
What about college football?
We just had the Tampa Bay.
Well, think about it.
Tornadoes on the
Yes.
air, and I want to go to the game.
Right.
I want to go to the game July 25th. I want to learn about sports.
So the interesting thing is, I mean, they were talking about, remember, not having any fans in the stands.
Yeah.
Which would be weird. Some areas and states enforcing it, some not. Which, think about that. You'd have
It's an all or nothing.
significant home field advantage in one areas over another if that was allowed. But, going back to what you guys just said, I don't know if it was on the air or on the break, but one of the Bucks coaches having corona. That's how this whole thing started, if you remember, with the NBA,
Utah
the player
Jazz.
that got it. Yeah.
You licked the microphones, though.
Ew.
Hey, the whole world is upside down when you have a lady that's been working for over 100 years and she gets fired for nothing she did wrong, doing her exact same job. And I'm talking about Aunt Jemima.
Aunt Jemima shut down?
Well, Aunt Jemima has gotten fired from her box of pancakes. She will no longer be on the box. You guys know that.
She's like a staple. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, yeah. Oh,
What's
yeah.
the backstory there?
The story is that, it's not politically correct.
I figured
or
that was
whatever it's
going in that
to be.
direction.
And also Uncle Ben's is being reviewed, cream of wheat, Eskimo pies, everything. So the world is just gone crazy.
It's a little bit over the top.
Is my
I
Mrs.
think.
Butterworth safe?
I don't know. Everything's under review, I think.
It's
just going to be bottle of. It just should say this is a bottle of syrup. This is a box of pancake mix.
It feels a little over the top. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So, carry on. We had a guest pop in, so we got a little
we had a
distracted for a moment.
9 o'clock guest popped in. So you wanted to talk about in the last 2 minutes the CRA funding.
No. That's the 9 o'clock hour.
Oh, that is the 9 o'clock
Yeah.
hour.
So I think
Okay.
our guest this hour, she's going to give the tip of the day she's with Paul's office, and she's got a little attorney tip for us. Welcome.
Welcome. Hi. Thank you.
Nothing like going right in and going to work, right?
I didn't know I was doing this fast.
Introduce yourself, because you literally walked over to our building, right?
Sure. Yes, I did. Right over. So my name is Laurel Ackley. I am a attorney practicing in family and marital law in Hillsborough and Pasco County.
And you have a tip for us, right, and our listeners?
Sure. So as I said, I practice primarily family and marital law. So my tip has to do with financial planning prior to marriage.
Oh, good one.
So largely, most people don't think of marriage as a financial decision. But what happens when you get married is you create essentially a entitlement to certain assets acquired during the marriage and responsibility to any debts acquired during the marriage. So if
You're saying
that's-
once you're married, right?
Once you're married.
It's all one big pot.
It's all one big pot. So people don't think about that. They get married, and then all of a sudden,
That is not the focus, right? When
Yep.
you're signing the paperwork.
10 years later, they're sitting in my office, and they're like, I had no idea that any of this was occurring.
Like what? Is it debt?
Debt, I had no idea that I'm responsible for my spouse's student loan debt. I had no idea.
So wait, if they went to college before you, racked up the student loan debt, and now we got married,
You're
can
not
be responsible?
You're not. But if
Oh.
they went to college while you're in school, while you're married,
Oh.
yes. So if that's
Did
not...
you know that?
No.
Okay, carry on.
He might have known. He's got a little bit of that look.
He always has that look.
So if that's something that you don't want to occur, there are ways for us to plan around that, largely prenuptial agreements. It's a contract, and you control or basically agree to what's going to happen during a marriage financially.
So how does that go down? Are you doing that for your clients as well, the prenup agreements?
I do quite a few prenup
what is that
agreements.
like when people are coming to your office? You got to have one that's like, oh, I don't like this.
Sometimes both parties have come from previous marriages, and they're equally invested in trying to avoid the problems that they maybe had previously. So a lot of my prenuptial agreements, both parties are on board.
What kind of things are in that prenup that people should be thinking about, but they didn't if they didn't sign one?
The important thing to understand is a prenup can never address child custody issues or child support issues, but we can talk about when and if spousal support is ever going to be paid by either party. If so, we can control how much.
That's a good one.
We can talk about what assets are
'Cause you're
treated
in this-
as marital.
In this day and age, you're not seeing just the guys paying spousal
It goes
support. You're seeing women.
both ways. I have quite a few female clients that end up paying spousal support or alimony.
Whew. All right. We're going to have you back for another whole show on this topic, shall we?
Okay, sure.
All right. So what's your biggest tip you want to leave for the person listening?
The biggest thing is if you're at this time considering marriage, it's worth it to schedule an appointment with an attorney, talk about what the financial consequences are going to be of that, and to plan for a prenuptial agreement if that's something you want to do.
If you want to get connected, call or text us 813-377-2775 and we'll get you hooked up for a call. 813-377-2775. Thanks so much for listening. Next hour, we'll be back to chat a little bit about some of the stuff going on in the Channelside area, and we have a special guest joining us, so stick around. Love where you live, or we'll fix it. Stick around, we'll be back.